It's come to my attention that there might be some misunderstandings around how SEO marketing works, how it fits into a bigger component of a digital marketing strategy, and what to do when you're just getting started. So recently I had a few different comments or conversations with either clients or just people in our community asking questions specifically about how SEO marketing feeds into sales and client acquisition. And I think it's really important that we talk about this and we address this, because what we have to remember is SEO marketing is one part of the entire strategy. It's not the full business. And I think that's one of the mistakes that a lot of folks make, whether it's assuming Instagram is the main thing, or Facebook is the main thing, or TikTok is the main thing, or SEO is the main thing. You have to remember that each one of these components is one part of a bigger picture strategy and a bigger picture part of your business. So what we're going to tackle in the next couple of minutes here is understanding how SEO marketing, or any marketing for that matter, fits into the bigger picture of your business. The biggest mistakes that we see people make in this regard, regardless of what industry you're in, and how to get out of the rut, out of the hamster wheel, so that you can start planning for long-term growth. The first thing that we have to understand is how SEO marketing, Instagram marketing, Facebook marketing, any type of marketing component plays into the bigger picture of your business. When we're thinking about business, you have to understand that marketing is broken into different stages or phases, and this is not anything new. This is something that has been documented long before I ever came around, and before most marketers in today's world ever came around. And it's understanding different phases or stages of awareness when we're looking at the client buying journey or the client acquisition process. And we start with first awareness. How are people becoming aware of who we are and what we do? Google breaks this down into a few different stages. You have awareness, then consideration, then the point you make a decision. Then when somebody has made a decision, they've decided to invest. Now it's about retention, and then finally advocacy. And we're not going to talk about the last two in today's video because we're focusing specifically on acquisition, which means we're looking at how we're moving from awareness to consideration to decision making. How are we taking somebody from feeling like, oh, they know who you are and that you exist, to starting to consider working with you and then deciding that you're the person that they're going to be investing in. And what we also need to understand is how different platforms like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, podcasting, how they fit into that bigger scope. In marketing, you have brand awareness and brand development. Brand awareness means we want to make more people aware that you actually exist, that you're somebody that they should consider, and that you fit into the niche of the bigger scope of the problem that they're trying to solve. You can do that in so many different ways. How you use social media versus SEO marketing is important to understand here, because social media is a great place when you're building brand awareness and connection with an existing community. When you're using platforms like SEO-based content, YouTube, Google, podcasting, Pinterest, you're generating brand awareness through search-based content, meaning people are coming inbound searching for what you do, versus with social media, you're putting content out and it's going out into the world with people who are already following you or potentially through engagement. Both platforms help with brand awareness, but the brand awareness stage isn't really the main goal. It's a component, but it's only one small piece, because people can be aware you exist, but that doesn't mean that they're going to consider working with you or that they're going to decide that you're the one that they want to work with. So SEO marketing helps with building brand awareness. We get more people seeing who we are, but how do we move somebody from the awareness stage to start to considering working with us, and then of course deciding that we're the one they want to hire? And that's why it's important, again, whatever platforms you're using, you have to recognize the role that they play in the bigger picture of your marketing strategy. If you're just relying on one platform, oftentimes we become overly reliant on it, and that's what creates a lot of the burnout or a lot of the overwhelm or the frustration that comes from that, because it's not meant to only be living in a silo. It's meant to be living in relationship with the other components of your business. So when we're using SEO or Instagram or TikTok or Facebook for brand awareness, we now have to say, okay, how do I move somebody from here to an asset that I own? And from that asset that I own, how do I continue to nurture that relationship, help them consider working with me, and then make the decision on wanting to purchase? That is done in a few different ways. You can use things like creating, again, additional free content and resources, similar to what we do here. We continue to create YouTube videos, we continue to create blog articles, educate and support our customers and better understanding what we do. So we're moving beyond just brand awareness. More people are becoming aware of us. Now we're moving into consideration. We're nurturing the relationships. That can be done on any platform. platform, as long as you have a consistent way to do it. So regardless of which one you choose, you continue to do it. Then we move into decision making. How are we helping people decide that we're who they want to work with and that we have the right offer? Requires a bit of a sales process in there so that they recognize that, one, we do have a way to work with us, and then two, that they understand that we are the right fit for them, or that they are the right fit for us. So if you're only relying on one platform and you're only focusing on educational content, the issue is you're consistently building brand awareness, but that brand awareness doesn't really go anywhere unless you're having things like going viral, growing through sharing content, or other people sharing your content or commenting on it. In the world of social media, in the world of SEO, they have to find you, but they have to continue to subscribe and stick around. So whether that's you having a YouTube channel, a podcast, whatever it is, where you can continue to build and nurture that community. You do not need to be everywhere all of the time, but you do need to have a home base for where you're building that. Now, when we're going from brand awareness to the consideration and the nurturing process, ideally, you're also leveraging something like an email list where you're bringing people into your world, and now they're starting to get to know you, not just on the main platform that you're using, whether it's social, whether it's an SEO platform like YouTube or podcasting, but now they're connecting via email, via whatever way you want to consistently engage. From there, then we move into the sales process. SEO marketing is amazing because it helps build brand awareness, not just through you creating outbound content that you're posting online. It helps bring people through inbound marketing because they're finding you via search. But if we stop there and we don't look at how are we then using our blog posts, our YouTube videos, our podcast episodes to take them from just being an engaged visitor and potential audience member or subscriber, how do we then have that move to the next stage? Then you're missing out on a lot of opportunity and growth in your business. So it's not just about having a bunch of content that ranks well or having a bunch of posts that do really well in viral content. It's how do you connect the engagement, the awareness stage to consideration and decision making so folks are working towards investing and purchasing from you. So this is the biggest mistake that most business owners make, is we hyperfixate on brand awareness through one platform and we don't ever zoom out to see the full bigger picture. What we have to do is we have to say, okay, great, we're using this to build brand awareness. Now, how does that brand awareness then attribute to having them come closer to my world, taking a step closer, and then learning more about what I do? So they're sticking around, they're building a relationship, and then they're choosing to invest and work with you. In my personal opinion, I think having an asset that you actually own, like your email list, is absolutely crucial for this, because then you can connect directly with them without having to rely on a platform like YouTube, like podcasting, like Pinterest, like TikTok, because all of these are platforms that you are still renting space on, even if you're creating the content on there. Similarly, if YouTube were to decide that they didn't like the content, I can get banned and all my content can get taken off. I still don't own the content that's on here, even though I've created it, which is why, again, you have to have a place where you live outside of just the platforms that you create the content on. All right, so how do you use this information to actually support you getting off of the hamster wheel and starting to create something that works more long-term? And the answer is fairly simple, though not always as easily implemented. And that is that we need a strategy to go from building brand awareness to actually bringing people onto our email list. We need a process for them to go from understanding that you exist, building awareness, to becoming an actual subscriber or some sort of user in your world that is consistently there, building that consideration phase, ideally growing on your email list, and then from there, nurturing them and then enrolling them in what it is that you do through a really simple and organic sales process. This doesn't mean you need to have crazy launches. This doesn't mean you need to have a whole crazy ad campaign. It can be really simple and really straightforward. In fact, we break this down inside of the Built to Scale guide, which we will link in the description down below. Completely free little freebie here that will walk you through all of the steps to go from being overly dependent on things like the social media algorithms to understanding how you can actually start to build towards a more long-term sustainable business. So it'll walk you through the different stages that we outline in there, from foundations to actually creating visibility and brand awareness, and then of course optimization and how you continue to scale. So if you're curious about that, go ahead and check the link down below, download the guide and walk through that. There is of course also a free training which will go a lot more in depth on all of these these pieces that follows, so you can check that out as well. And if you're curious to see how we implement this, you want support, then go to sassandSEO.com/membership to learn more about our Build to Scale membership. And that is where I get to live with all of the amazing students that we have in there. The membership is essentially where I am putting all of my time and energy into these days. A lot of the times I get to work with really amazing clients for much more premium rates, and unfortunately the work that we do at larger scale with companies isn't usually accessible to folks who are smaller scale with much smaller businesses, which is why we've transitioned what we do from the one-to-one component and what used to be more group dynamics into a self-paced journey through the membership. If you want to learn more, feel free to click the link down below. If you have questions, as always, you can feel free to reach out at soph@sassandseo.com. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future videos. If you found this helpful, as always, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Make sure that you hit subscribe so that you can stay up to date with all of the amazing content that we have. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye y'all.